If someone you loved was in trouble, it's Dylan that you would want to respond.
He was highly intelligent, a good friend, a good cop, and someone everybody could look up to.
Who was always happy, and you rarely saw him not smiling.
Every time he stepped out of the station, he would do what needed to be done. Dylan was a hero.
God bless you, Dylan. May you rest in peace.
A kind and gentle-hearted warrior, the epitome of what you want in a police officer.
That is how loved ones and colleagues are remembering fallen Arvada officer Dylan Vakoff.
The 27-year-old laid to rest today, 5 days after he was killed in the line of duty.
Vakoff was an Arvada native, a 2012 graduate of Ralston Valley High School. He would go on to serve in the U.S. Air Force before coming home to serve the community where he grew up. This morning, first responders and members of the community lined the streets as Officer Vakoff's casket was brought to Flatirons Church in Lafayette.
Inside the church, Police Chief Link Strait said Vakoff had all of the qualities you want in a police officer with aspirations of becoming a school resource officer or joining the SWAT team.
While Dylan rapidly developed his policing skills, he always possessed thoughtfulness, a tireless work ethic, and above all else, he had a big heart and an extraordinary desire to protect people and make things right.
Megan Essinger, Dylan Vakoff's girlfriend and a fellow Arvada police officer, said Dylan loved what it meant to be a police officer and called him one of the most positive people she had ever met.
No words will ever be enough to truly capture what he meant to everyone. There isn't enough time in the world to truly express everything he meant and what an impact he had on my life and the lives around him.
Today's service came to a close with the pastor reading a letter Vakoff's mother had written for her son.
I accepted that you were the one who wanted and believed you could make a difference. You said we all have choices. Your choice was to always see the good, to have a different perspective, and you could always see the diamond in the rough.
Along with his mother and girlfriend, Vakoff is survived by his father, grandmother, and aunt, along with several cousins and nieces. Officer Vakoff died early Sunday morning. He was shot during an exchange of gunfire while on scene of a large family disturbance.
Among those paying their respects to him today, members of a small but powerful group who know all too well the pain of losing a loved one in the line of duty.
And as they tell Denver 7's Rob Harris, finding each other is a major step in the healing process.
A club that you don't intend to join.
But it's a club Cheryl Schwartz is so thankful exists.
Every family is unique and different and has different needs.
For Officer Dylan Vakoff's family now, and for herself 21 years ago.
Their whole mission is to provide support.
She's talking about COPS. It stands for Concerns of Police Survivors. It's a network of support for officers and family members who have lost a loved one in the line of duty. And before Schwartz was a volunteer,
the picture in the frame is Jason about 3 hours before he died.
She was a recipient.
21 years ago, my husband was a police officer in Fremont County in southern Colorado, and he was killed in the line of duty 17 days right after September 11th. And I had literally 5 weeks earlier just had a baby. I went from married, happily married with a baby, to a solo parent.
Officer Jason Schwartz was shot and killed in the line of duty while responding to a domestic disturbance call, as was Officer Dylan Vakoff earlier this week. According to the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Fund, shooting deaths of officers are up 18% compared to last year, and domestic disturbance calls are the leading cause.
We're seeing that every day when we go on calls. The type of calls that we go on are a lot more acute now, a lot more dangerous. There's a lot more situations where firearms are involved. Coming back home at the end of tour or end of duty is not guaranteed to any of us.
Both Sergeant Robert Cook and Cheryl Schwartz say they want to see a shift in the way society views law enforcement and the dangers they face on the job. But in the meantime, as volunteers for the COPS organization,
my mom makes these for every fallen officer.
They're working on ways to support Officer Vakoff's family and the others who will need it in the future. They already have something small but powerful in the works.
Over time, your grief changes and it becomes purposeful.
For Denver 7, I'm Rob Harris.
And the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund tells Denver 7 the process is already underway to consider having Officer Dylan Vakoff's name added to their memorial in Washington, D.C. at a ceremony in April. Meanwhile, the Colorado Fallen Hero Foundation has set up a donation fund to support Officer Vakoff's family, and you can find a link at denver7.com.
Dylan Vakoff is the second Arvada police officer to die in the line of duty in the past 18 months. Officer Gordon Beasley was shot and killed last summer in Old Town Arvada. Beasley had a passion for bikes. In his memory today, volunteers with Townsend Retirement Planning and Wish for Wheels built bikes for students at Seacrest and Swanson Elementaries.
They're going to take this bike and they're going to remember it forever. They're going to be able to say when they're my age, I can remember back when I was 8, 10, 12 years old and I got this bike, and what a special event.
120 volunteers built more than 120 bikes today, and kids also got a bike helmet. Well, new tonight, Colorado State Patrol says a Platteville police squad vehicle was hit by a train. This is the area of Highway 85 and Weld County Road 36. We're told the officer was not hurt, but a suspect inside the vehicle was taken to the hospital.
The police shooting death of a Colorado man is capturing the attention of state and local leaders. Denver 7 Investigates broke this story earlier this week. Christian Glass was shot and killed by a Clear Creek County deputy in June. Glass had called 911 after his car got stuck in an embankment. He wouldn't get out of the car and was shot about an hour after the first officers arrived. Well, at the time, the sheriff's office justified the shooting, claiming Glass had tried to stab an officer. The attorney for Glass's family says video shows a different story and that police were the aggressors. In a statement today, Governor Polis called Glass's death a tragedy that never should have happened. Clear Creek County commissioners are also taking a rare step, calling the circumstances surrounding Glass's death deeply troubling. And we learned this week the deputy who shot Glass has returned to duty despite a CBI investigation. And we reached out to the sheriff's department for comment today, and we're told they don't have one. Now, as the nation grapples with rising crime rates, the need for victims advocates is more important than ever before.
Now Boulder police have a new tool to help victims begin the healing process. Here's Denver 7's CB Cotton.
Finding the door to healing can be hard, especially when you've been deeply hurt, says Susan Townley.
We've met with victims of domestic violence, sex assault, robberies. We also work with witnesses.
Townley, who serves as senior program manager for Boulder Police's Victim Services, says anyone who's become a victim of or witnessed violent crime needs a safe space. She's hoping these 4 walls inside the Boulder Police Department can do just that.
We bring them into a space like this, and this is like sitting in somebody's living room. So we wanted to make sure that we could separate a place where victims are interviewed and a place where suspects are interviewed.
In late August, the nonprofit Project Beloved transformed Boulder Police's soft interview room from this to this. The nonprofit partners with law enforcement agencies across the country to create comforting spaces like these, making it easier for victims and witnesses to share their stories with officers and detectives.
We were working a case this morning and we were able to get an involved person in that room. And it's a fully working interview room, so it's audio and video recorded.
Boulder Police Deputy Chief Stephen Redfern says he's already seen good results with the new space.
To me, it looks like it's already paying off dividends.
For him, it's also personal. The nonprofit who created the room was founded by his cousin, whose daughter was raped and murdered back in 2017.
Knowing both sides of the coin, and it is really different when it happens to your family, and I'm just very proud of the work that she's done and continues to do.
Townley and Redfern both know they can't stop victimization. They still have the same hope.
I just hope that it's a safe and secure space for them where they can feel like they can trust the process of what's happening in here.
That when people step behind these doors, that they'll begin the long journey to healing. In Boulder, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
It's one of the biggest decisions a person can make.
Everything I've done, everything I am, is a result of one generous gift.
A Colorado teen is living proof of the impact you can make by choosing to be an organ donor.
The Broncos looking to get in the win column at home on Sunday, but they'll be without a key contributor against the Texans.
Got tickets to the game on Sunday? I'll let you know what to expect in my forecast.